on the Superdome, and Super Bowl 43 is history.
Welcome to Halftime, Steeler Nation. I'm Stan Savran. I'm a member of the Steelers Hall of Honor Selection Committee. We're glad you're with us. This entire production is presented by U.S. Steel in association with Giant Eagle. Many of you are aware that the Steelers, a number of years ago, began to formulate a Hall of Honor, honoring some of the great Steelers from the past. This year is no exception. Obviously, things have changed this year because of the pandemic. Normally, there is a ceremony at halftime of a home game. This will not be the case because there are no fans allowed at Heinz Field. So there will be a presentation next year for the class of 2020. But we wanted you to be well aware of this particular class, one of the greatest in Steelers history. All 5 players are defensive players, and that certainly fits the image of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Going back to the dynasty years, the great Dwight White, one of the original members of the Steel Curtain front 4. Mike Wagner, 4-time Super Bowl champion at strong and free safety. We move on in years. The great Greg Lloyd is being inducted into the class of 2020 in the Hall of Honor. Moving forward, James Farrior, one of the great players and leaders the Steelers have ever had in franchise history, and the one-of-a-kind, one of the all-time greats in the NFL, let alone the Steelers, the wonderful Troy Polamalu. An added feature, we have been able to talk to many Steeler Hall of Honor members and Pro Football Hall of Fame members to introduce the individuals who are being inducted to the Hall of Honor this year. As you know, the Steeler family lost one of its greatest members, Kevin Green, passing away at the very young age of 58. We had asked Kevin to introduce his Quiver and Quake partner, Greg Lloyd. So we wanted to make you aware that clearly this was taped a while ago, but Kevin is included with some other great Steelers that you will recognize. We present the Steelers Hall of Honor Class of 2020.
The Pittsburgh Hall of Honor is just a unique award that you can get. It represents some of the great legends of the past of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think when you look at this class and all the defensive players that go into it, I think James Farrior not only belongs there, he's earned the right to be there.
Give me that!
He was the calm in the storm. You're talking about having Joey Porter coming to get the team riled up. Casey Hampton would get mad every time there was a third down conversion because he had to run back on the field. He was a first and second down player. But the one thing that was the stability of that defense, and you can say it, and they will all say the same things, that James Farrior was the glue that kept everybody together. While there was a lot of different personalities, he was able to relate to every one of them. He could adapt to any situation. He was definitely the general and the leader of our defense.
Let's turn it up. We still ain't got no turnover. We need a turnover.
He's back, has plenty of time. Now he's flushed out of the pocket, and he's hit. Intercepted with the football up the field. Running with it is James Farrior.
Again, you talk about Pittsburgh Steelers defenses. It's about being selfless. It's about being productive. It's about representing everything that the Pittsburgh stands for. James Farrior was a very productive guy. He was a very consistent player. And he really was the glue that kept that defense together. And to me, the quarterback of the defense, the guy who made all the calls, right or wrong, but they followed his lead. And he was a great leader and inspired everyone else around him.
Here we go. All day. If you don't want to play, you're in the wrong house today. Let's go to work.
Greg was probably one of the most physical linebackers I think I'd ever seen play the game. And even now, I just don't see people playing and hitting people like Greg Lloyd used to do. And maybe they've outlawed the violence, now that Greg, I think he probably weighed 222 pounds, maybe 225, soaking wet. Greg and I complimented each other because I think the competition was tremendous between us because I know I didn't want him to beat me to the quarterback. And I know that he didn't like for me to beat him to the quarterback. And it was a respectful tension that we had with Greg and I. And it was good because we really took each other, I think, we took each other to a whole nother level. The Hall of Honor is huge. I mean, because now his name is going to live on in perpetuity as a legendary Pittsburgh Steeler. And I know that means a lot to Greg. It means a lot to me that he's there, a part of us all.
You can't describe what makes Troy special. You know, it's not for like normal humans to understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was my closest friend on the team, still one of my best friends in the world now. And he would try to tell me, you know, I'd be like, hey man, how'd you know when the snap count was coming? Or how'd you know when to do this? And he'd start going into body language and breathing patterns and knuckle colors. Troy had a unique way of being him. The interception against the Ravens to win the AFC Championship, I think that moment was the most Troy moment in the biggest place.
Flacco in the gun. Protector each way. He's back. He looks. He waits. He throws the pass, and it's intercepted. Polamalu at the 40, 35-30. Flacco's at the 25. He's running right at the 15. He turns and goes for the goal line, and he's in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Touchdown. Troy Polamalu with a big defensive pick, and this place is on fire.
You know, like we all thought we were good football players, but we knew one of us was different, right? And 43 was the one.
Mike was a complete player at that safety position. Most times you think about a defensive back, you're talking about interceptions, and not that he didn't have a whole lot of those as well, but he also was very much involved in the running game, and he took a lot of pride in that as well. From that strong safety position he played initially, you know, a lot of times in our defenses he would support the run or have a cutback against the run. And the only way you make plays like that from that safe position is reading well. I mean, he was a smart guy. He probably should have been a coach because he was kind of a player coach on that field. He got people in the right alignment and was aware of what people were trying to do and made so many big plays in Super Bowls for us. We're going up against Roger Staubach in the Super Bowl, and Mike, you know, they're running, I'm about to get technical here, but they're running a post pattern towards him, and they're running the other receiver, Drew Pearson, is off of that, is running an in route, a deep in route. And Mike in that Super Bowl read it and jumped the in route as the post is coming over top of him and anticipated and made a big play.
Staubach, double fake, drops back and throws down the middle, intercepted, picked off by Wagner, he's coming over the 15 to 10, he's down to the 6-yard line. Holy smokes, the defense has done it again.
I don't know if another safety would be able to make that kind of a play, and that was just Mike being aware, seeing the formation, seeing where Staubach wants to go with the ball. And I can remember later on down the road when we were with Roger, and he was still complaining and telling me that Mike Wagner guessed on the play, and I should have gone to the post, and it would have been a touchdown. Well, it wasn't. It ended up it was an interception for us, and Mike's the guy that made that type of play.
He was ferocious. He was called Mad Dog. And, you know, I'd call him, I'd tease him about Mad Dog, and he would tease me about being mean. Anybody that he played against, they'll tell you Dwight talked to them the entire football game. One in particular against Cleveland, Doug Deacon. He would talk, and occasionally Doug would respond, but most of the time Dwight was talking to himself.
I'm gonna hit it hard, and you just make sure you get outside, because I'm hitting it like a...
And he would tell him how he was going to beat him, how he was going to hit the quarterback, all of that. And Dwight had the ability to do that, rush the passer, stop the run. He did it all.
How amazing was that? Steeler greats introducing and talking about other Steeler greats. Now, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, normally we would have a presentation of the inductees and then a halftime celebration here at Heinz Field. But the Steelers wanted to wait until there are fans in the stands that can enjoy that presentation. So hopefully, assuming we're back to some semblance of normalcy, that will take place next year. However, you can visit the Hall of Honor inductees as we take a look at this year's class being installed literally at Heinz Field.